How's it going, guys? It is Blake back yet again from the Avid Entries slash thephantompages.com. Continuing on with another reading for today. We're going to be finally getting back to the Kybalion. Sorry for the couple day wait. Haven't been feeling too well the last couple days, just haven't been sleeping well. And yeah, I needed these last few days to kind of recover and also get ready for some stuff coming up next week. And really just kind of getting back to the drawing board for a few things. But anyway, it's been a drainful week. But we're going to continue today with the Kybalion chapter 7. And then at some point tomorrow, or I guess Sunday evening, more than likely, the next reading for the completion process will be going up. I can't seem to get my mic in a place that feels right. Alright, so yes, we're doing chapter 7 today, which is entitled The All in All. I believe that's where we are. Let me make sure, because I know the All was one chapter. Yeah, the Divine Paradox was the last one we did. Okay, so yeah. This is a shorter one, so I guess if there's anything that really sticks out, I will highlight and we can go over it briefly at the end, but otherwise, just sit back, relax, try and take in the words, and here we go. So chapter 7, The All in All. While all is in the all, it is equally true that the all is in all. To him who truly understands this truth hath come great knowledge. The Kybalion. How often have the majority of people heard repeated how often have the majority of people heard repeated the statement that their deity, called by many names, was all in all? And how little have they suspected the inner occult truth concealed by these carelessly uttered words? The commonly used expression is a survival of the ancient Hermetic maximum quoted above. As the Kybalion says, to him who truly understands this truth hath come great knowledge. And, this being so, let us seek this truth, the understanding of which means so much. In this statement of truth, this Hermetic maximum, is concealed one of the greatest philosophical, scientific, and religious truths. We have given you the Hermetic teaching regarding the mental nature of the universe, the truth that the universe is mental, held in the mind of the all, as the Kybalion says, in the passage quoted above. All is in the all. But note also the correlated statement that it is equally true that the all is in all. This apparently contradictory statement is reconcilable under the law of paradox. It is, moreover, an exact Hermetic statement of the relations existing between the all and its mental universe. We have seen how all is in the all. Now let us examine the other aspect of the subject. The Hermetic teachings are to the effect that the all is immanent in remaining within, inherent, abiding within its universe, and in every particle, unit, or combination within the universe. This statement is usually illustrated by the teachers by a reference to the principle of correspondence. This statement is usually illustrated by the teachers by a reference to the principle of correspondence. The teacher instructs the student to form a mental image of something, a person, an idea, something having a mental form. The favorite example being that of the author or dramatist forming an idea of his characters, or a painter or a sculptor forming an image of an ideal, I think that's supposed to be an idea, or of an ideal he wishes to express by his art. In each case, the student will find that while the image has its existence and being solely within his own mind, yet he, the student, author, dramatist, painter, or sculptor, is, in a sense, immanent in remaining within or abiding within the mental image also. Yes, this is true. The entire virtue, life, spirit of reality in the mental image is derived from the immanent mind of the thinker. Consider this for a moment until the idea is grasped. So basically, our thoughts, our dreams, our anything we are able to conjure up essentially in our mind is us. And they're trying to get you to understand that on a much more cosmic, grander scope, universal scope. To take a modern example, let us say that Othello, Iago, Hamlet, Lear Richard III existed merely in the mind of Shakespeare. At the time of their conception or creation, and yet Shakespeare, or at the time of their exception or creation, and yet Shakespeare also existed within each of these characters, giving them their vitality, spirit, and action. Whose is the spirit of the characters that we know as, I don't know some of these characters. Is it Macabre? Oliver Twist. Macabre, Oliver Twist, Uriah Heep. Is it Dickens? Or have each of these characters a personal spirit independent of their creator? Have the Venus of, man, I do not know these names. Have the Venus of Medici, the Sistine Madonna, the Apollo Belvedere, spirits and reality of their own? Spirits of reality, I guess it's supposed to be, oh yeah, have spirits and reality of their own, or do they represent the spiritual and mental power of their creators? The law of paradox explains that both propositions are true. Okay. Viewed from the proper viewpoints, Macabre is both Macabre and yet Dickens. And again, while Macabre may also be said to be Dickens, yet Dickens is not identical with Macabre. Man, like Macabre, may exclaim, the spirit of my creator is inherent within me, and yet I am not he. How different this creator is inherent within me, and yet I am not he. How different this from the shocking half-truth. So, we are really struggling with the words today. Is it vociferously? I don't know. Announced by certain of the half-wise who fill the air with their raucous cries of, I am God. Imagine poor Macabre, or the sneaky Uriah Heep, crying, I am Dickens, or some of the lowly clods in one of Shakespeare's plays, eloquently announcing that I am Shakespeare. The all is the earthworm, and yet the earthworm is far from being the all, and still the wonder remains. And though the earthworm exists merely as a lowly thing created and having its being solely within the mind of the all, yet the all is immanent in the earthworm, and in the particles that go to make up the earthworm. Can there be any greater mystery than this of all in the all and the all in all? The student will, of course, realize that the illustrations given above are necessarily imperfect and inadequate, for they represent the creation of mental images in finite minds, while the universe is a creation of infinite mind, and the difference between the two poles separates them. And yet it is merely a matter of degree. The same principle is in operation. The principle of correspondence manifests in each, as above so below, as below so above. And in the degree that man realizes the existence of the indwelling spirit immanent within his being, so will he rise in the spiritual scale of life. That is what spiritual development means. The recognition, realization, and manifestation of the spirit within us. That is interesting. This is what spiritual development means. The recognition, realization, and manifestation of the spirit within us. Try to remember this last definition, that of spiritual development. It contains the truth of true religion. There are many planes of being, many subplanes of life, many degrees of existence in the universe, and all depend upon the advancement of beings in the scale, of which scale the lowest point is the grossest matter, the highest being separated only by the thinnest division from the spirit of the all. I'm gonna have to go back to that one. That's for sure. Oh no. I need a better highlighter. And all are on a path whose end is the all. All progress is a returning home. All is upward and outward in spite of all seemingly contradictory appearances, such is the message of the illumined. The Hermetic teachings concerning the process of the mental creation of the universe are that the beginning of the creative cycle, the all, in its aspect of being, projects its will towards its aspect of becoming, and the process of creation begins. Huh. Interesting. So I'm going to reread that. The Hermetic teachings concerning the process of the mental creation of the universe are that at the beginning of the creative cycle, the all, in its aspects of being, project its will towards its aspect of becoming, and the process of creation begins. It is taught that the process consists of the lowering of vibration until a very low degree of vibratory energy is reached, at which point the grossest possible form of matter is manifested. This process is called the stage of involution, in which the all becomes involved or wrapped up in its creation. This process is believed by the Hermeticists to have a correspondence to the mental process of an artist, writer, or inventor who becomes so wrapped up in his mental creation as to almost forget his own existence, and who, for the time being, almost lives in his creation. Instead of wrapped, we use the word wrapped. Perhaps we will give a better idea of what is meant. So when I read this sort of take on exactly what is happening to source consciousness, I guess you could say, it almost makes it sound like it's asleep. Like, I guess for lack of, I guess to put it in more basic words, it makes it sound like God is asleep. And it's so enveloped in its dreams that it, to the point where it doesn't realize that it's dreaming. Very interesting. Okay, let's continue. In this involuntary stage of creation is sometimes called the outpouring of the divine energy, just as the evolutionary state is called the indrawing. The extreme pole of the creative process is considered to be the furthest removed from the all. The extreme pole of the creative process is considered to be the furthest removed from the all, while the beginning of the evolutionary stage is regarded as the beginning of the return swing of the pendulum of rhythm, a coming home idea being held in all of the Hermetic teachings. The teachings are that during the outpouring, the vibrations become lower and lower until finally the urge ceases and the return swing begins. But there is this difference, that while in the outpouring, the creative forces manifest compactly and as a whole, yet from the beginning of the evolutionary or indrawing stage, there is manifested the law of individualization. That is, the tendency to separate into units of force, so that finally that which left the all as unindividualized energy returns to its source as countless highly developed units of life, having risen higher and higher in the scale by means of physical, mental, and spiritual evolution. The ancient Hermeticists used the word meditation in describing the process of the mental creation of the universe in the mind of the all. the word contemplation also being frequently employed, but the idea intended to seem that the idea intended seems to be that of the employment of the divine attention. Attention is a word derived from the Latin root meaning to reach out, to stretch out. And so, the act of attention is really a mental reaching out extension of mental energy, so that the underlying idea is readily understood when we examine into the real meaning of attention. The Hermetic teachings regarding the process of evolution are that the All, having meditated upon the beginning of the creation, having thus established the material foundations of the universe, having thought it into existence, then gradually awakens or rouses from its meditation, and in doing so starts into manifestation process of evolution on the material, mental, and spiritual planes, successively and in order. Thus the upward movement begins, and all begins to move spiritward. Matter becomes less gross, the units spring into being, the combinations begin to form, life appears and manifests in higher and higher forms, and mind becomes more and more in evidence, the vibrations constantly becoming higher. In short, the entire process of evolution in all of its phases begins and proceeds according to the established laws of the indrawing process. All of this occupies aeons upon aeons of man's time, each aeon containing countless millions of years, but yet the illumined inform us that the entire creation, including involution and evolution of a universe, is but as the twinkle of the eye to the All. At the end of the countless cycles of aeons of time, the All withdraws its attention, its contemplation and meditation of the universe, for the great work is finished, and all is withdrawn into the All from which it emerged. But mystery of mysteries, the spirit of each soul is not annihilated, but it is infinitely expanded. The created and the creator are merged. Such is the report of the illumined. The above illustration of the meditation and subsequent awakening from meditation of the All is of course but an attempt of the teachers to describe the infinite process by a finite example. And yet, as above so below, the difference is merely in degree, and just as the All arouses itself from the meditation upon the universe, so does man, in time, cease from manifesting upon the material plane and withdraws himself more and more into the indwelling spirit, which is indeed the divine ego. There is one more matter of which we desire to speak in this lesson, and that comes very near to an invasion of the metaphysical field of speculation, although our purpose is merely to show the futility of such speculation. We allude to the question which inevitably comes to the mind of all thinkers who have ventured to seek the truth. The question is, why does the All create universes? The question may be asked in different forms, but the above is the gist of the inquiry. Men have striven hard to answer this question, but still there is no answer worthy of the name. Some have imagined that the All had something to gain by it, but this is absurd, for what could the All gain that it did not already possess? Others have sought the answer in the idea that the All wished for something to love, and others that it created for pleasure or amusement, or because it was lonely, or to manifest its power, all puerile explanations and ideas belonging to the childish period of thought. Others have sought to explain the mystery by assuming that the All found itself compelled to create by reason of its own internal nature, its creative instinct. This idea is in advance of the others, but its weak point lies in the idea of the All being compelled by anything, internal or external. If its internal nature or creative instinct compelled it to do anything, then the internal nature or creative instinct would be the absolute instead of the All, and so accordingly that part of the proposition fails, and yet the All does not create and manifest, and seems to find some kind of satisfaction in doing so. And it is difficult to escape the conclusion that in some infinite degree it must have what would correspond to an inner nature or creative aspect, creative instinct. In man, with correspondingly infinite desire and will. I read that wrong. That was not a period. And it is difficult to escape the conclusion that in some infinite degree it must have what would correspond to an inner nature or creative instinct in man with correspondingly infinite desire and will. It cannot act unless it willed to act, and it would not will to act unless it desired to act, and it would not desire to act unless it obtained some satisfaction thereby. And all of these things would become and belong to an inner nature, and might be postulated it might be postulated as existing according to the law of correspondence. But still we prefer to think of the all as acting entirely free from any influence, internal as well as external. That is the problem which lies at the root of difficulty, and the difficulty that lies at the root of the problem. Strictly speaking, there cannot be said to be any reason whatsoever for the all to act for a reason. For the all to act. For a reason implies a cause, and the all is above cause and effect, except when it wills to become a cause, at which time the principle is set into motion. So you see, the matter is unthinkable just as the all is unknowable. Just as we say the all merely is, so we are compelled to say that the all acts because it acts. At the last, the all is all reason in itself, all law in itself, all action in itself, and it may be said truthfully that the all is its own reason, its own law, its own act, or still further, that the all, its reason, its act, is law, are one, all being, man, the punctuation in this book is just like, it's so bad sometimes. Its reason, its act is law, are one, all being names for the same thing. In the opinion of those who are giving you these present lessons, the answer is locked up in the inner self of the all, along with the secret of being. The law of correspondence, in our opinion, reaches only to that aspect of the all which may be spoken of as the aspect of becoming. Back of that aspect is the aspect of being, in which all laws are lost in law. All principles merge into principle, and the all principle and being are identical and one and the same. Therefore, metaphysical speculation on this point is futile. We go into the matter here merely to show that we recognize the question, and also the absurdity of the ordinary answers of metaphysics and theology. In conclusion, it may be of interest to our students to learn that while some of the ancient and modern Hermetic teachers have rather inclined the direction of applying the principle of correspondence to the question, with the result of the inner nature conclusion, still legends have it that Hermes the Great, when asked this question by his advanced students, answered them by pressing his lips tightly together and saying not a word, indicating that there was no answer. But then he may have intended to apply the axiom of his philosophy, that the lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding, believing that even his advanced students did not possess the understanding which entitled them to the teaching. At any rate, if Hermes possessed the secret, he failed to impart it. And so far as the world is concerned, the lips of Hermes are closed regarding it. And where the great Hermes had hesitated to speak, what mortal may dare to teach? But remember that whatever be the answer to this problem, if indeed there be an answer, the truth remains that while all is in the all, it is equally true that the all is in all. The teaching on this point is emphatic, and we may add the concluding words of the question, To him who truly understands this truth hath come great knowledge. So that was one handful of a chapter. It looked like a short one, to be very honest, but it kind of went on for a little bit because there's just so much to take in. I'm going to go back real quickly to the point that I highlighted, which really stuck out to me. So this paragraph said, there are many planes of being, many subplanes of life, many degrees of existence in the universe, and all depend upon the advancement of beings in the scale, of which scale the lowest point is the grossest matter, the highest being separated only by the thinnest division from the spirit of the all. And upward and onward along this scale of life, everything is moving. All are on the path, whose end is the all. All is progress. All progress is a returning home. All is upward and onward in spite of all seemingly contradictory appearances. Such is the message of the Illumined. So after rereading that, I think what they're basically trying to describe here are I guess it's more known now, and like, I guess you could say New Age community or like spiritual community. I guess it's more described as now as like the different planes of existence or the different dimensions of existence. I believe 12 is what most people settle on. I think at some point in time it was 7, but I believe now it's 12 dimensions. I really don't know how I feel about the dimensional theory anymore. There is somebody, I forget his name, but there is somebody who brought up a pretty good point about how it doesn't really make sense that the higher we go in dimensions, it just doesn't make any sense, because it would assume, or it makes it sound like we're moving deeper into density rather out of. So when we go from 1D to 12D, it sounds like we're going deeper into matter rather than working our way out of it. But I thought that was a pretty interesting point. But either way, I think this is what they're really trying to convey here in that paragraph is no matter what dimension a specific life form or a a specific life form, timeline, whatever is on, they are all working in a sense as one. They're all working towards the same goal, and that is just sort of reaching that highest point, which is returning back to source consciousness, returning back home, is how they put it in the book. So it's just sort of all becoming one all over again. So right now everything is pretty splintered, everything is pretty fractured, and we're all basically on the same journey. We're all basically on the same path. And yeah, I find that pretty interesting. I think that is a theory and a talking point that I've heard of quite a bit. I think this is the first time I've heard them bring it up in this book, so it's interesting that they're sort of on that same sort of talking point, that same sort of theory. And yeah, that's one that just sort of stuck out to me the most, because yeah, just the concept of moving out of this density and doing what we can to return home. That is something that has been coming up in a lot of my personal research lately, and I do believe it to be true. It's just a matter of how difficult is it really to get to that point. Because I hear about, different substances, different meditation techniques. All of these things can essentially sort of just get you there like that. So, I mean, they make it sound like it takes millions and millions and millions of years. But yeah, I don't know. We're all looking for the quickest shortcut, the easiest shortcut to attain in order to return home, so to speak, in the fastest way possible. But anyway, that's going to do it for this reading for today. So next time I am on the Kybalion, which should be on Monday. I believe Monday will be the next day that I do. I think it'll be up late Monday evening. That is when I will be doing chapter 8, which seems like kind of a long one, to be very honest. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, stay tuned for the completion process reading, which should be up sometime Sunday evening. So that's sometime tomorrow or sometime today at this point. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, if you have anything to speak on that might have touched out or might have, my words are not coming to me. If there's anything that, you know, sort of stuck out to you in the reading, make sure you drop it in the comment below. I read all the comments. And most importantly, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, consider doing so you can keep up to date on all the readings as they're uploaded, as well as all of the other content that is soon going to be coming very, very, very soon. Working on some stuff here for this channel and sort of taking all of this into a new direction and kind of tie up loose ends. So that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching once again. Thank you for your energy, and I'll see you guys in the next reading. Take care.